Titi me pregunto si tengo mucha novia. Mucha novia. Anyways, Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny. What does everyone think of that? I know, I hate it too.
Have you heard of huitlacoche? Or I don't know if I even say it correctly.
Yeah.
Have you ever like tried it?
I want to say yes, but don't quote me on that because I feel like I haven't.
Wait,
but I know
what?
what it is.
Huitlacoche
What is that?
or huitlacoche? I don't
It's
know.
like a
Huitlacoche.
fungus.
It's a fungus that grows on corn. It's like a delicacy though, similar
make you
to
high?
like truffle. No,
Oh.
no,
like
it's
food.
just supposed to taste good. But I asked my parents, and they both have neither of them have ever tried it, and they're
Oh.
like, yeah, like they're saying that wherever they grew corn from, like wherever they're from in Mexico, they would just like throw that stuff away.
Right, because I feel like if you're trying to grow and sell corn, it's probably a nuisance.
But what, now it's a
But-
delicacy?
Yeah, it's like one of those things like now has gotten some resurgence. And I'm sure some cultures have always.
Yeah.
But like TikTok effect, right? Like everyone knows about it now and stuff.
Nice.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I wonder what it tastes like.
I know. That's why I was like, I want to try it. That's why I wanted to ask my parents if they've tried it before, but they haven't. Sometimes they be growing corn in the. My mom said sometimes they grow corn in the garden, and she says that she thinks one time that it had that, and
Ooh.
they didn't keep it.
Yeah, because it's just like,
And I was
wow.
like, well, next time you grow corn and it has that, save it for me.
Freeze it.
I'll drive up.
I need to freeze my huitlacoche.
Well, also there's that one banda song that's like La Boda de la Huitlacoche or something. It's popular. I didn't even know that's what the lyrics were until like
Yeah.
I
I was
just
looking up the
realized I heard
song,
that.
and then that's what the lyrics were. I was like, oh, that's crazy. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Welcome back to Eating Good, the podcast where we try out different restaurants throughout the Columbus area and talk about life. I'm Oscar,
I'm Sam.
I'm Marisol.
And I'm David.
and this week it's Restaurant Week in Columbus,
Woo-woo.
where they offer a different set of courses at a set price.
And
it-
this is lots of restaurants, right?
Yes, it's various restaurants throughout Columbus. This week, David chose a restaurant on Restaurant Week.
Before we jump into David's restaurant, I will say the Restaurant Week happens twice a year, and that's kind of how the inception of this podcast happened.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurant Week in January of 2023, we all went together. Oscar wasn't there, but the other three
spirit.
of us went,
Wah.
and that's what motivated us to start trying new restaurants and to really get this podcast off the ground. So it's good to be back.
It's our half anniversary.
We love you, Restaurant Week.
Sponsored by Six. I'm just kidding. I wish.
614. No.
We'll get there.
The city
Yeah, one
of
day.
Columbus.
Yeah.
But all right, I just wanted to interject that. David, take it away.
All right. So for this Restaurant Week, I spent entirely too long looking at different menus, trying to define what I wanted to take us to. But I settled on Rye River Social, which is an informal venue in a roomy space offering cocktails and weekend brunch, plus comfort food with a twist. So Rye River Social is kind of tucked away in this little like parking lot, and I feel like you would miss it if you weren't looking out for it. But when I was looking at the menus, I've been really in the mood for grits recently. And that was one of the menus that had it. And I was like, you know what? I've seen on like 614 or random events pages that sometimes they have like open mics or other like fun little events. So I was like, you know what? This would be a great way for us to check out the space, but then also try their food. So set my heart on Rye River Social, and that's what we ended up choosing.
Yep.
I can start with my food.
Take
Go
it
for
away.
it.
So this was a 3-course meal. For my first course, I got the pork belly sliders, which was pork belly with a vinegar slaw, and they were the bomb. Like there was
Bomb.com.
thebomb.com. Like the slaw and the vinegar just fit so perfect with the pork. Like it was a good balance. I'll give that a 9.5 out of 10. For my second course, I got shrimp and grits. It was just grits with 2 shrimps with their heads still on. I like the shrimp. The grits were all right. I was kind of expecting mashed potatoes
What?
because that's what they look like, obviously. But
So
that-
have you said you've never had grits before? Or if you have, it's been a long time, so you don't really like remember.
if I had grits before, it was like at a diner, like with a country fried steak or something, or maybe yeah.
Yeah, that sounds. I feel like I might have had it in the same context too, like a diner.
I don't know. They were okay.
So what is it like? Are grits salty? Are they like? I've never really had grits either.
Grits are
I
like
don't think they're
so
salty.
neutral. It's what you put in them
Yeah.
because they can be savory if you put like butter.
I think
and
it's
salt.
more about the texture.
Yes, it's just like it's almost like a porridge type thing. I don't know what a grit is technically, but yeah, I've seen people can prepare it sweet. Like the whole debate is, do you make your grits with sugar or salt?
So the shrimp and grits, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Dang. Wait, so did the grits just like not have a ton of flavor, basically?
It
No,
normally
they
doesn't
didn't.
have like a lot of flavor. I think normally they mix it like with a little bit of butter, but normally it's like a neutral flavor. I would also say it's not like salty or anything like that.
Yeah, the grits just didn't
From
have a
what I
lot of
can
flavor.
remember.
But I guess I should have expected that.
Yeah, grits normally doesn't. I feel like
Then why do people like them?
maybe
so
like a
much?
cheesy flavor.
I think it's like
I don't know.
oatmeal. You can put whatever you want in it.
It's one of those foods where you're like, grandma always made it growing up, and I love the way grandma used to make it. That type of stuff.
It's like
it's mostly
oatmeal.
southern.
Yeah, I
I
feel like
feel
it's
like-
like oatmeal. Oatmeal really doesn't taste like anything, but like you pair it with like something else.
Right, like it's like a
Yeah.
canvas where it's just a side and you kind of dress it
Okay.
up with whatever your main thing is.
Well, I've also never had oatmeal. Moving on.
It's not good.
Yep. And for my third course, I got a Basque cheesecake, which had like strawberries and like a strawberry sauce. And I would give that a 7 out of 10. It wasn't my favorite cheesecake, but the strawberry sauce was actually good. Not too sweet.
I tried the cheesecake and I personally really liked it. Actually, it might have been my favorite of the 3 desserts that we tried.
Ooh.
Just because it was so similar to a Japanese cheesecake that I like from a local bakery in Columbus called Bell's Bread. But I do think this one from Rye River Social was even like softer than that one. Like it was very creamy, which I really liked.
Yeah.
I think that was a big reason I didn't like it. I wanted like a crunch to it. Like I like when cheesecake has like a crust.
Yeah, there was no crust on it because of the shape of
Yeah.
it. It was like round as opposed, it wasn't a New York cheesecake slice,
Yeah.
which like, yeah. It was like strawberry shortcake, you know, like the rounds that they use for that. I liked it too because I also ordered that.
I feel like I prefer my cheesecake without crust.
I was
just
going to
feel
say,
like-
I feel like the crust isn't a deal breaker for me.
yeah.
I'm with Oscar. I like a New York cheesecake.
Yeah.
I just feel
With
like
the graham.
most cheesecakes I try, like most American style cheesecakes, I don't like. And it's not because of the crust. The crust is always neutral, but like the actual cheesecake part of it, I normally don't like. And this one I really liked.
Yeah, it was like you said, more kind of like almost like whipped, whereas with other cheesecakes they're like almost frozen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like it's
thick.
like like you have to let it melt in your mouth, and this one was just like melted already. It was good, different but good.
Yeah. So you kind of got similar meal to me, David.
Yeah, would you rate the cheesecake?
I'd say a 7.
Okay.
7 out of 10.
Yes. So Oscar and I did a little half seas where he got the pork belly slider and I ordered the tots. And so the tots was tater tots, but they were like not your cafeteria tater tots. They were like bigger. And you could tell that they mixed the smoked Gouda, the sharp cheddar, and the actual shredded potato together. And then they served it with like this dill aioli, which I loved. I even did like the pork belly slider in the aioli. I love mayonnaise and I love aiolis, so this one was everything I wanted to be and more. I will say pork belly slider I'd probably give like a 7, I think. It was good. The tots, I actually think I liked more, so I'm going to give that a 7.5. If I was rating just the aioli, 8.5. Really good condiment. Highly recommend that one. For my second course, I also got the shrimp and grits, which was the Shangbark Mill organic grits, sharp cheddar with compound butter, and then Australian king prawns. So, mind you, they weren't like little shrimps. They were big, but I will say, and I know they like actually our waitress told us specifically that for restaurant week they cut the portion sizes down, which makes sense because they're just trying to get people out to try different restaurants. But I did feel like if I hadn't had a late lunch, I probably would have been more like kind of upset about the portion size for the shrimp and grits specifically.
Yeah.
Because it was like a big old plate and it was just like a smear of the grits, and then it was only 2 shrimps, right?
Yeah,
And so
2
I was
prawns.
like, yeah, I felt kind of cheated, but I was like, whatever, it's fine. All 3 courses together make it all worth it. Like I said, I was craving the grits specifically. I think I also had them in a diner situation, and I think they like loaded it up with butter and probably hella salt, and so I loved those ones. And these ones left a little to desire. So
Yeah. What would you rate it?
Probably a 6.5. I will say the prawns themselves, if there was more than 2, I think they were some of the most tasty shrimps that I've had. I was gonna say flavorful.
Yeah, they were
Were
big.
they like well seasoned?
Yes,
Were they
yeah, that's what I was
juicy?
gonna say. It was like I think if I compared it to like a seafood boil, I think it was even more seasoned than that. So I give kudos to them. And Oscar didn't eat like or whatever the heads of the prawn. They were easily removable, and so I did do like the little brain slurp that you do with like shrimp and crawfish. And whatever was in there was all good stuff. So kudos to them for seasoning it. My only complaint is, again, the portion sizing.
And I
So-
will say, your guys' entree was like the smallest of all the ones we ordered.
Right. And so I was like,
Mine looked bigger, and Marisol's looked bigger too.
yeah, like I said, my saving grace was just I had like lunch at 4 p.m. so it was fine. I'm like good with it. But yeah, 6.5. If I went back, I would definitely go for other foods. But I am glad that I got my fixing for shrimp and grits, and I'm probably good on that for a good while. And then for my third course, I also got the Basque cheesecake, and that being the balsamic macerated strawberries. I think we talked about it a little bit already, so I think I'll give that a rating of probably a 6.5 as well. Like,
Wow, guys, I thought the cheesecake was so good.
now when we talk about the bourbon,
It wasn't
the
my
freaking
favorite.
pecan pie,
Sneak peek.
I'll have a different. Oh yeah, sorry, sneak peek. Spoiler.
Look,
Spoiler.
I will change my tune.
I would go back there just to get the pork belly sliders and the tater tots because
Yes.
I really like the tater tots.
Wow, you guys almost didn't get the tater tots. So,
Yeah, no, the tater tots surprised me. I think when you showed us the video of them being like bigger and not just cafeteria tater tots, I was like, okay, let me give them a go.
Yeah.
And they were really good.
Because like the outside was like a hard fried outside, like it wasn't like soft, so it wouldn't just break apart by picking
like,
it up.
crunch
Because I would probably give the tater tots like a 9 or 9.5.
Oh, wow.
These are probably
Ooh.
my favorite tater tots I've ever had.
And you almost didn't get them.
Yes.
I feel like I kind of convinced you guys to order them, so you're welcome.
Thank you. And we have to go back because they have poutine on their regular menu. And I
Well,
love poutine.
Zaftig is closed now, so we can't even go there to get their delicious poutine. We
Right,
we gotta
so-
find a new poutine spot in Columbus.
Maybe it's Rye River Social.
We gotta try it next time.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess I can jump into my courses. So I got, for my first course, the fried green tomatoes. It was Ohio grown green tomatoes with a warm bacon mayonnaise. Oh, that's what the sauce was. And
Ooh,
smoked
interesting.
corn relish. And this was really good. I had seen a picture of it online. And at first I was like, I don't want tomatoes. But then looking at how, like, the presentation, I was like, that looks incredible. I need to try it. And I'm really glad I did. It was so good. And I didn't know what the sauce was, but I guess it was a bacon mayonnaise. I didn't really get flavors of bacon, but I'm glad that I didn't because I don't necessarily love, like, bacon flavored things.
How could you?
Bacon is a breakfast food only for me, and I don't want bacon unless I'm eating breakfast. But the sauce was very creamy and very rich, and it added a ton to the meal. And the corn relish was also very good because it had its own kind of sauce that it was marinating in. And then the fried tomatoes were like crunchy and like the perfect amount of fried. And I still felt a little healthy because I was like, well, it's a tomato.
They kind of look like chicken parmesan.
They look like McDonald's hash browns, the shape of them.
Yeah, like McDonald's hash browns. And honestly, it was like better than a McDonald's hash brown.
And that's saying a lot.
McDonald's hash browns are pretty good, but it was like less greasy than one, but still
Right.
just as good in flavor or a little bit better. Honestly, I would rate the tomatoes like a 9 out of 10. Maybe a 9.2 out of 10. Like
Ooh.
really good.
Okay, looks like we're definitely going back to Rye River.
Yeah.
The breading was delicious.
Oh yeah, I let you guys each try the tomatoes
Yes.
too. Would get again, definitely. For my second course, I got the short rib. So it was an Ohio short rib with grilled broccolini, pommel puree, which I think just means mashed potatoes, crispy onion straws, and a house demi glaze. And the short rib was really good. It was very tender. Like as soon as I touched it with my fork, like it was falling apart. I didn't even put much effort into it at all. And the mashed potatoes or the pureed. Did I say tomatoes?
Potato
Mashed
puree.
Mashed potatoes or pureed tomatoes were seasoned.
You said it again.
Did I?
Yeah.
Potatoes. The puree potatoes.
Okay, but now say normal.
Okay, the pureed potatoes.
Taters.
I'm saying potatoes, guys.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got it.
that's- time
Okay,
to say
okay. The pureed potatoes were perfectly seasoned, and there was no chunks of potatoes, which I don't like when my mashed potatoes are chunky. So I really appreciated that. Overall, I would give the entree an 8 out of 10. It was very good. And for my third course, I got the bourbon pecan pie with caramel. Pecan, caramel. There's 2 of those words in that one dessert.
Right. How do you say it?
I feel like I normally say pecan, but right now I was self-conscious about it, so I made the effort to say pecan. And I think, I don't know, I normally say caramel. Which
Caramel.
Really?
But I feel like
I say caramel.
I was like, a lot of people say caramel. I guess it's a pecan caramel pie or a pecan caramel pie. Very different.
Yeah, because when I think of like ice cream, like butter pecan is the way I would say.
Butter pecan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say pecan. Caramel.
But definitely
No, I
caramel.
definitely say caramel.
Pecan.
Caramel.
Moving on.
Okay.
How do you say it? Foreigner?
Pecan. Caramel.
Pecan.
Oh, so you think you're better than us?
Right.
She said
Caramel.
yeah. Anyways, I've never had a pecan pie before, so that's why I wanted to try it. It was the perfect opportunity to try something new, and I really liked it. And the caramel glaze that it had was super sugary and sweet. It was really good, but I could only have so much of it, so David pretty much ate most of that.
Yes, sir.
Just licking the plate clean.
Yeah.
I did not like to play, but I was scraping it with my fork. I will give it up.
Yeah. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. I normally don't like nuts, so that's why I was like, I know this isn't going to probably be my favorite dessert, but I'm still willing to try it. So 7 out of 10. I would probably rate the cheesecake like an 8.1 out of 10. So if I went back, I would get the cheesecake as my dessert
Nice.
and just try a bite of someone else's pecan pie.
Yeah, I might give that a 8.3. I really enjoyed it, and I'm a sucker for anything caramel. So that probably is what did it for me. And pecans are pretty good too. Pecan, whatever, they're delicious too. So
Pecan.
and I love crust. I think that's what I was missing from.
The cheesecake.
So your crust hit the spot.
Yeah. I had a lot of crust.
Yeah.
I don't think I had any of the crust.
Oh.
I only had the crunch and the
No,
inside.
I mostly offered you the non-crust part. I kept the crust to myself.
That's fine. But I think my favorite dessert was the one that Marisol got.
Take it away.
All right. Well, for my 3-course meal, for my first course, I got a Cobb salad, which was iceberg lettuce, egg, heirloom tomato, pancetta, blue cheese, shaved onions, and lemon vinaigrette. I love the salad, honestly. It was a good starter. You can't go wrong with iceberg lettuce. I also feel like it had other things than the ice. It didn't look
Yeah.
like... Some of it was iceberg lettuce, but the other one maybe looked like romaine lettuce.
Yeah, it was like a darker
Like a
shade
darker,
green.
yeah.
It looked like the lettuce from a Whopper.
I did not like the pancetta. It was like too crispy and too salty. But is that normally how it is?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think it was like it was over exaggerated. I liked it, but even for me, sodium boy, it was a
Yeah.
bit. It was like much. Like I only had one piece.
See,
just to try it.
I loved it.
You did?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
even as you
I'm-
bit it and let it like
I just thought it
melt in
was
your
like
mouth, it was
too
just
salty.
super
Whenever
salty.
I would like eat it with something, other parts of the salad, it was like way too salty. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't taste anything else except the pancetta.
I like my food on the saltier side, so that one that was like really good for me. Like it was like you know when you eat something really sour and you make like a face.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now think of that, but instead it's salty. That's
Ugh.
what it made me feel.
You
like.
monster.
So I think it's
was
because I
good.
had it just on its own.
Okay.
But if I would have had it with maybe the vinaigrette to cut it or something, or like a leafy.
But see, I did that and I was still like way
Still
too
too
much.
much?
But again, I don't really like pork that much. Also, it had blue cheese, and I always say I don't like blue cheese, but this blue cheese was really good. It was very cheesy. It like melted in my mouth pretty much. What else? What is blue cheese?
I think it's just like
Like what's the blue?
it's like mold or something.
It was very aged
I
for
think
sure.
you know when you leave the milk in the fridge too
Yeah.
long, it's just that.
It's like a safely molded
it's like,
cheese or something.
It was like
I think.
moist Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
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 I will say this one, maybe you liked it because this one I would say was on the tamer side.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
chunks were big.
Is it
so
supposed to be like stronger, more like potent taste?
Yeah.
I think the
Okay, maybe
stinkier,
that's why I
the
like
people
it.
like it better.
Yeah,
So and like I said, this one was like so big where once you got past the outside, it was like more creamy on the inside. I think a
Yeah.
lot of time the crumble, it's all just that outside stinkiness. So
Mm.
it's all just like more powerful.
Yeah, normally I don't like blue cheese because I feel like it's very pungent.
strong. Yeah.
And this one was a lot more tame.
It was chill.
Pungent is a good
Yeah.
description.
I was gonna say
Word.
pungent, but I was like, that's not right. That's not the right term.
No,
Dang
blue
it.
cheese definitely do be pungent.
You said you were gonna say stinky.
It was
Stinky indeed.
stinky.
Stinky, but the stinkier the better. I feel like some people think for certain
I
cheeses,
guess.
blue included.
Overall, I would give the Cobb salad a 7 out of 10. It was good. I could have done without the pancetta, but overall, good. For my second course, I did get chicken and waffles. And I felt like my plate out of all your guys was like the most food. Or maybe
Yeah.
it just looked like that from all like the size that it had. But honestly, if you even think about it, it wasn't that much waffle. It was just like 2 little pieces. Ohio chicken drumsticks, pearl waffle, barrel aged honey, and maple syrup. Was that the butter?
It was honey.
It was honey. It says barrel aged honey.
I don't think
Yes.
that's what it was.
No,
Maybe that was drizzled on it already.
maybe.
Wait, it doesn't mention anything about the butter?
No, I think it was whipped butter with
Yeah.
maybe like
Yeah.
some cinnamon, some sugar. But I had like some whipped butter on the side and I guess some maple syrup. But it didn't just taste like maple syrup. It tasted like melted sugar with some cinnamon and some maple.
Would you
I
say
mean-
oaky?
It was a little oaky.
Because I think they're trying to say that it was barrel aged, as in probably in like bourbon
it
barrels.
It was a little oaky.
Also, if you like syrup, probably is just melted,
Melted
sugar.
I could taste like as they made it in house. Like it wasn't like bought somewhere else. That's what it tasted like.
Yeah,
It tasted very fresh. The waffle, I think it was just like buttermilk waffle, and it was really good. It was like a little soft on the inside. The drumsticks were fried, and I think they were perfectly fried. I don't think they were seasoned with anything but like pepper and salt, but it was still good. It wasn't like too crispy, but crispy enough. They gave me 2 big old drumsticks, so I could not finish it all by myself. So everyone else definitely helped me. The chicken and waffles, it all was like very sugary, and I didn't think about how I was gonna have dessert afterwards. But I would give the chicken and waffles. I'd also give it a 7 out of 10.
Was the chicken sugary? Was it not savory? I feel like that's the thing about chicken and waffles, right?
It
The
wasn't-
savory chicken and the
It
sweet
wasn't
waffles.
really like
It's like the hot
seasoned or
sauce or
anything.
something, right?
See, that's why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, because normally when I eat chicken and waffles, like there's something spicy in the meal.
Right,
Normally
or-
they give me like a spicy
like
syrup.
hot honey is really
Yeah,
in
they
right
normally
now.
give me like a spicy like maple syrup, but they didn't. So I just think it was like all a little bit too much. So that's why I would give it a 7 out of 10. The chicken didn't really like taste seasoned. It just tasted like salt. They probably just did like salt and pepper.
Yeah, it was
It was just like fried chicken.
Yeah, the skin didn't have much flavor to it.
Yeah.
That's disappointing. I didn't try your chicken, but that's what I would look the most, look forward to the most.
I do wish it was spicy, but okay.
Yeah, normally with fried chicken, you like the outside better than the inside. I think this one, the inside was better than the outside.
Yeah, I agree. And then for my third course, I got a carrot cake. For those who don't know me, I don't like carrots.
You hate
Oh, yeah,
carrots.
you
suck.
hate.
Actively hate carrots.
I hate carrots. And my parents would always try to feed me carrots because I have terrible eyesight. And maybe they're the reason why I hate carrots. Anyways.
They force fed you a carrot, just put the whole thing down your throat.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me leave the table until I finished my vegetables, specifically carrots. Anyways,
the trauma.
thanks, Mom and Dad.
The trauma.
But I love a good old slice of carrot cake. Honestly, I would say it's my favorite dessert.
Really?
Like, in cake form.
Okay.
The carrot cake was very moist. I could see, like, little shreds of, like, carrot within the cake. And I think, like, the spices they use, honestly, it just tastes like a gingerbread cookie. I feel like carrot cake tastes like. You can feel the nutmeg, the cinnamon. What else does it have? I don't know what else it has.
Whatever the frosting was good too.
The cream cheese frosting.
Like the buttercream frosting. I think.
Yes, so good. It was not too sugary, and it was just very creamy. Overall, I would give the carrot cake a 9 out of 10. I wish my I wish my second course wasn't so sweet, so I can like savor enjoy the carrot cake. But I was already like sugared out, so I only enjoyed like 2 bites out of my carrot cake, but it was so good.
You were hallucinating at the table by that point.
I had too much sugar. And then for my drink, I got a mangonada, which is Young and Wolf. How do you say this?
Huh?
Guyana?
Guyana, maybe? Guyana.
Like the country, right?
I don't
know.
Something like that.
It had rum,
Guana.
triple sec, lime juice, and mango puree. I think they put a little bit too much lime juice, because maybe that's why it didn't taste like right. I would give the mangonada a 6 out of 10. Lowest rating.
Wow.
I got Maker's Mark Gold Rush. It was Maker's Mark with honey syrup and fresh lemon juice. And it was a bourbon with a lemon taste to it.
What would you rate it?
8 out of 10.
Okay.
It's pretty solid, pretty, not the best, but also, pretty safe choice.
I got the jalapeno and basil margarita, which had Monte Albon Blanco tequila, triple sec lime juice, house basil, and jalapeno simple syrup. It was pretty good. It was like just a basic jalapeno margarita, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
And I got the Maker's Peach. And that was Maker's Mark, peach syrup, lemon juice, muddled mint leaves, honey, and ginger beer. I ordered it for the Maker's Mark because I love bourbon. And I forgot to say, but that was also part of the reason why I chose this restaurant for Restaurant Week, because they had these drink specials and I'm partial to a bourbon. But I will say the peach syrup, I think, definitely overpowered it. And if you listen to our Songlan episode, you would think that I really love peach bourbon mixed drinks. But this one was way too peachy, so I'm going to have to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
When you say too peachy, was it like too sugary?
Too sweet, but it was like the heaviness of like on the peach. It was like artificial peach. Yeah. If it was like a peach garnish and that's like emanated into it, I'd probably like that. But so I took a leap on it, and I wouldn't get that next time we go. But I'm glad I tried it at least.
Yeah. So would you guys be down to go again?
I would.
Yes. Okay. Seems to me like obviously the portions were smaller because of the Restaurant Week. But I feel like we all really enjoyed the appetizers, so this would probably be like a great place for like drinks and appetizers.
Like a happy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I saw like other people ordering from the regular menu, and they had some really good burgers.
Those burgers looked huge.
Yeah.
So many fries. They looked like they gave them.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you order from the regular menu, all of their portion sizes are like fine. It's
Right.
just the Restaurant
yeah.
Week, they pare them down.
Yeah.
Because you are getting 3 courses. So like it makes
For like
sense.
a set price.
I would definitely want to try like other things in the menu.
Yeah.
So I would go back. And I feel like the space is like very like
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like modern.
hipster.
Yeah, there was like a library kind
Yeah, on
of
the top.
area.
Also,
Yeah,
there's
like a
like
loft.
games on the side.
Yeah,
the
so
Yahtzee.
it'd be cool for like like happy hour, go show, have a drink, play a game, maybe get some appetizers later on. I think it
Yeah.
was a different vibe because restaurant week, so I'm guessing people are just shuffling in and out all day.
Yeah.
And the staff was really friendly too.
Yeah.
And like if we went for like an open mic or I know they do like a bunch of random events at random times. So maybe I'll keep an eye out and let us all
really?
know. Maybe they'll do something fun and we can
I
knock
feel-
something off our bucket
Yeah,
list.
I definitely like actively want to go back there because I feel like everything I tried was very good, so I
Yes.
would definitely be down to try more
Yeah.
things on their menu.
I feel like they have to have like good food because the spot they're in is so hidden. Like people
Yeah.
need to like they need to be remembered by their food so that way they can come back.
And like tell their friends about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we spent a good amount of time on the food, so let's jump into our topic of the week. So, as we're recording this, it's July 28th, but this episode should be coming out on August 14th. Oh, that's my mom's birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Maria!
Happy
Birthday!
Cumpleaños feliz, te deseamos a ti. Cumpleaños felices, María, te deseamos a ti. Hey!
Woo!
Chiquita boom, a la bim bomba.
Chiquita boom, a la bim bomba.
Alegría,
alabao, a la bim bomba. María, María, ra ra ra.
Wow. I hope your mom hears this. Watch this be like the one episode she skips.
No, she listens to every episode.
Okay.
She's dedicated. But yeah, so August 14th is around the time people are going back to school, and I don't know how big our demographic is of college students. However, me and Oscar, our little sister, is starting her freshman year of college, and all four of us have had college experience, so we thought this would be a good topic, is college tips and tricks and hacks from our experience that we just want to share with the public and to those going to college. So hopefully they can take advantage of this and, I don't know, yeah, just have a better experience overall, be a little bit more knowledgeable. I know, like, I think all three of us are first generation college students, so
Yeah.
like we didn't really have anyone to
Correct.
tell us things about school or like about going to college, which we've touched on previous episodes a bit, but I just thought it would be fun to kind of dedicate our hacks and
Learn from our mistakes.
learn from our mistakes.
Or
Absolutely.
our positives.
And boy,
Yeah.
have I made some mistakes.
Don't we know?
Excuse you, you have two.
I've never made a mistake.
Okay. Mistake number one. That shirt.
Wow.
Boom.
Boom, roasted.
Hater.
Shots fired.
You're just
Roasted.
hating.
There's nothing wrong with his shirt.
Right.
You're
I've
gonna
seen
make
better
him
shirts.
self-conscious.
It's a t-shirt.
It's literally just a green t-shirt and like a nice
It
color
reminds
green.
me.
Yeah.
Never mind.
What? What were you gonna
You gonna say
say?
cock-a-doodle?
Yeah, I was gonna say cagadoodle when you're sick.
Yeah.
It is like an olive green for the listeners.
I'm just kidding, Oscar. It was just a joke for the viewers.
You already
You're-
hurt my
you're
feelings.
Oh,
Shut
you
up.
called me chunky 20 minutes ago.
No, you called yourself chunky.
And we
And
just
he
agreed.
we didn't deny it. No, we did deny it actually.
Yeah. Because like we said, you're the fittest one out of all of us. So if you're calling yourself that, what do you call us behind our backs?
Right.
Especially me.
Anyways,
Anyways.
what's the topic again?
College,
College.
tips.
Okay.
Do you have one to start off
Tips,
with?
tricks.
College tip number one. Don't date someone throughout college. No, I'm just kidding. You can date someone. However, I do feel like if you find yourself having a significant other and it's serious, don't just like isolate yourself from like other people. Just hang out with your friends and his friends and like do stuff. You'll get eventually, if you guys are still together, you'll get to the boring like staying in at home. But like these are your college years. You want to enjoy them because they will be gone at some point. Wow, that was so good. I'm gonna
was-
cry.
That was inspiring, really, honestly, truly.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that go into college with a significant other lose out on a lot of experiences because they don't go out, you know.
Yes, and especially like if you're going with your high school significant other to your freshman year, like that first semester, that first year in general is when you're meeting a ton of people. So if you're not going out and like be getting involved or you're just like at home on the phone with your significant other all the time. You're missing out on like making a core friend group.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
is pretty important. So the moral of the story, don't take sand to the beach.
What?
Ooh, that's a good.
You've never heard that?
Like
No.
symbolism.
Like, don't go...
Because there's so much sand in the beach.
Yes, don't go into college with a significant other. There's so many other people that you can meet.
But also, if you don't take sand in the beach, just don't find sand at the beach and then keep the sand and then not do anything
And then
else.
take it home in a jar. Well, it's like, I think another way of kind of saying, like, this whole thing is like setting boundaries for yourself. It's like, yeah, obviously we're not telling you break up with your boyfriend. But, so yeah, I think kind of another way to put what you guys are saying is like setting boundaries in your relationships.
Don't
in your
isolate
friendships.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Go do
Where-
stuff.
Let him finish, damn.
I'm helping.
Are you? I'm setting a boundary. Don't talk. No, I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
Don't take bread to the bakery.
But it's just like, dude, if someone's controlling you from afar and they can't see that, like, college is going to be a growing experience for you, you're not going to allow yourself to grow. So just be realistic in your expectations in your relationship. And it's hard when you have rose-colored glasses on. You know, we've all been there, I'm sure. I know I definitely have. But I guess the easy way to say it is just like, do your own thing. It's only 4 years. You're going to find someone eventually. I will say also, if you find someone that you're like, maybe they're not my type, whatever, go for it. Give it a shot. That's what college is for. Make mistakes, whatever. But all in all, the only person you're going to live with your whole life is yourself. So let yourself get experiences. Let yourself have fun. Try that club that you never wanted to do.
But beware
Bunch
of
of other
fuck
stuff.
boys.
Yes, be smart.
Be
Be
smart.
smart.
Be smart. Listen to your friends.
Boys
'cause-
are dumb. Don't forget that. Even after college, boys are dumb.
And so in college, they're even dumber.
Oh my gosh, so dumb.
This is true.
Can confirm.
I was college boy.
He
and I
is
was
boy.
dumb.
It's like, yes. Like, if your friends are telling you this boy or this girl is not good for you, don't get defensive. Like, they're probably looking out for you because what do they have necessarily against them as opposed to what do they have rooting for you type thing, you know?
Just don't ignore the flags.
Yeah. 'Cause
If
there's a
you have a feeling about something, it's probably because it's true.
trust your gut.
Yeah.
A
What
lot
do
of
you say?
guys go into college just looking to be fuckboys that whole time.
Yeah.
And girls too. I mean, I'm going to say,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Girls are
some
terrible
girls
too.
will go out there and will ruin your life.
Oh my
But-
gosh.
But it's mostly
It's
boys.
lessons learned.
But it's mostly boys. Anyways. All right, let's jump into one that I feel like is a classic tip for freshmen. Don't schedule 8 a.m. classes.
Heck
Terrible
no.
idea.
You think it's a good idea because you're used to going to high school and you're there at like 7 in the morning.
You think you're gonna be productive and
Yeah,
wake
and then
up.
you're like, I'll do my early classes and get them out of the way and be done. And it's like, no, you're not going to want to wake up early.
and
Then-
if you do, I feel like you learn nothing.
Yeah,
'Cause you're so
9:30
tired.
a.m. is still early, but it's significantly better than like
Yeah.
an 8 a.m. class.
Literally 10:30 on is like the golden.
And honestly, like, all your friends are gonna have later classes too. I feel like also as a freshman, you kind of like get what you get. So sometimes it's unavoidable to like have later in the day classes.
Yeah.
So that's my tip. Don't do 8 a.m. classes. Let yourself sleep. You're gonna be staying up later than
You're
you
gonna
would in
expect.
high school because you're hanging out with people and you're gonna be tired in the morning. So
I feel like 10:30 is kind of late too. Is like you mean like 10:30 as your first class?
was
No,
my
it's
game
not
plan.
late.
I mean, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
For
I'm
me-
a night owl.
For me
so-
personally, like a 9:30 a.m. class is
9:45 was the best
great time to start.
Yeah.
Best time.
Or if you do, schedule it every other day of the week. You know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah, that's a good, or like,
Well, that's how most classes are.
yeah.
Anyways.
but
Even
it's
when
like,
I did
don't be
that,
like,
Like, don't have like
don't
two
8:30
8 a.m. classes.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah,
maybe,
Oh, I see
don't
what
one-
you're
do the
saying.
full 5
Yeah, yeah,
days
yeah,
of
yeah.
8 a.m.
maybe like Tuesday, Thursday, give yourself 9:45,
Mm-hmm.
10:30, whatever. And if you can, this is, I guess, from my experience, if you can get that lab or that discussion course not on a Friday and you can have Fridays off, I feel like those are my favorite semesters because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you can still be productive, get homework done and stuff, but you can literally set your Friday, like make your own schedule every week, and it's like every week's a 3-day weekend.
Mm-hmm. I
type
would
thing.
always make my Wednesdays my busiest days because Mondays I hated my life. Friday, I don't want to do anything Friday. I want to be done by like noon. So Wednesday was just like, I'm getting the hang of it. So I would make Wednesdays my busiest days.
Yeah, I would have Tuesday, Thursdays be my busiest days. Also, at Ohio State, Tuesday, Thursday classes are just longer because
Yeah.
it's 2
Yeah.
days a week versus Monday, Wednesday, Friday is 3 days a
Oh
week.
yeah.
So they would just be longer days in general, which is fine. But Fridays, I would make a point to have them end early. Or I think even my senior year, I just I think I just ended like around noon. So that way I could go to like the bars starting at 1 p.m.
Beat the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat the clock.
Alcoholica.
College.
I'm kidding.
Sorry,
Another-
I was enjoying my
Sorry,
college years.
I'm joking.
Another rule.
Don't make me roast
Yeah.
you.
It's not alcoholism until you graduate.
Oh my
Have
God.
fun. No.
No, you're right. You're right.
But yeah, classes were like that at Worcester too. Tuesday, Thursdays were longer. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would try to have earlier classes so that I could be done in like by 1:00.
Yep. Yeah. So just think about that. Think about what you want your free time to be. Also, don't be afraid of longer breaks between classes because some of my best semesters, I would have like 2-hour breaks between classes. I'd go to my dorm and take a nap. It was
Ooh.
awesome.
Naps really do help a lot. in
Naps
college.
really hit in college like differently than any other time of your life.
For real.
Like-
You feel productive sleeping in the day. Right now, as an adult, if you do it, you're like, I could have been washing clothes or something random.
Yeah, it's like you could take a nap or you could get like a quick lunch and like watch a show or a movie.
Or honestly, in your breaks, go to the library until you wait till your next class. Do some homework so that way you don't have to
Yeah.
do it after.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know when I did my homework. I don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I remember of college, so I honestly don't know how it got done. But it did.
But it got done.
It did for sure.
It's when in high school they're like, they're not gonna let this fly in college, and you go to college and your professor shows up in like
Yeah.
sandals and a
Yeah.
t-shirt and pajama pants and is like, I forgot to grade this week's papers, so you guys have an extra 3 days to do your assignment. So you're
They're
just
like,
"Yay."
here's a post-it. Anything you can fit in here, you can use in your desk.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's true. It's like you could just walk out of the classroom and the professor does not care.
Yeah.
I guess that is for brand new people. You don't have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. Just go.
Yes.
Just go.
Do not
Like,
raise your hand to ask to use the bathroom. That would be so
that is
embarrassing.
cringe.
I have another tip. Are we moving on to the next one?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. As much as like, what's the word where you can decide what to do with your life?
Autonomy?
Autonomy. As much as
Autonomy.
As much autonomy
as much
you
as
have.
Tani,
She's drunk.
as much autonomy as you have in the college, don't skip class.
No.
Okay?
Nope.
You are paying for these classes. Like, your teacher could give a shit if you skip class. Just think of it as every class you fail, you're paying like thousands of dollars. So don't skip class, because you're going to have to take it again, and it's going to be so annoying.
Yeah, and depending on the school you go to, it's like if you sit down and do the math, you only have so many classes in a semester. So every one you skip, that's like $88 that
Literally.
you're skipping out
That's
on.
exactly-
You're losing money.
That's exactly what one of my managers at work says. Because we were talking about college once, and I was like, I bet you never skipped a class. He's like, oh, of course not. I did the math, and I was paying like $100 per class. I'm not going to skip that. I'm going to get all my money's worth.
Yeah.
And you know what? They should say that in orientation. Like, per
Yeah.
every class you skip and you decide not to get up and you decide, I'll just go to the next one.
Yeah.
This is how much money you're throwing down the drain.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people like freshman year just like not going because they're like, oh, I have the choice to go. And then they fail the class.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, there's one thing if you are like, okay, personally, I had one class that I skipped 2/3 of the semester for, but it's because I knew I could pass that class with an A without going. But if it's like a class that you're not going to have any idea what's going on if you skip, you need to be going. Like, don't skip that
Because
class.
everyone you skip,
It's
what
like
you don't know
important
is going to
things.
keep piling up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're going to be at
Everything
office
builds on
hours
itself.
3 days before the big exam, crying, sweating, and you're going to realize there's 18 other students also doing the same thing. And how much help can you get in that situation?
Right.
Yeah.
See-
And my one class that I skipped was like a one-off because It's no classes like this, but that one happened to be the study guide was exactly the exam. So as long as you knew the study guide, you could pass the exam. All of the homework was optional, and if you did it, it was extra credit. So like it was very easy to make up points in that class. So that was like a one-off. Most classes are not like that. You should go.
Yeah.
Like I had a class with my roommate where if I was like, you know what, I'm not going to class today, he'd be like, I'm not going either. But this was my senior year. You know, I knew people in the class, and I knew myself that I could skip every now and then. But freshman year, you don't know anyone in the class. You don't know if you're going to hold yourself accountable.
Right.
So
Also,
I went to every single class and made friends.
I feel like freshman year, you're learning your learning
You-
style.
You're learning habits.
So
Build
if you're
good habits.
if you're skipping class, like it's gonna make it harder for you to figure out what works for you.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a nerd confession, but I don't think I skipped more than a handful of classes my 4 years.
No, I mean, other than that one class that I did skip 2/3 of, other than that, I think I only skipped one other class because, no, I don't even think, I did skip one because I was too hungover. And it was after Ohio State won the national championship, so I think it was valid. To be fair, so Ohio State won the national championship, I think, on a Monday, and then the next day was a Tuesday. Tuesday's my busiest day. I think I had like 4 classes on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I went to the first 2. I left in the middle of the second class to go throw up, and then I just didn't go to the remaining classes of the day.
Yeah, that's rough. But I'm sure you were definitely not the only student skipping classes that day. Considering the whole school won the national championship.
Also, half the school got tear gassed the night before.
Right. If I was a professor, I'd also be like, you know what? I get it, guys. I would cancel the entire class.
So, go to class. Moral of that tip.
Just go to class.
And
what else are you doing? Go to class.
Don't get too overconfident. Some classes you'll get lucky and they'll record them and upload them. But realistically, you're not going to watch them till the last minute, and that's going to create so much stress. And I feel like when you're there in person, 1, you can ask questions. But 2, just being there, taking it in. Another one I would recommend is, you can have your laptop in the classroom nowadays. But I found that when I would write things out,
Like in a notebook.
it would imprint in my head more.
Same.
And when I would be studying, I'm like, oh, I remember. I mean, not even specifically like whatever, but I'm like, oh, I remember kind of like writing that down.
Yeah.
And if it was a really hard test, sometimes I would look at my written notes and lecture notes and then rewrite them again, just as another level to imprint, like kind of train your brain to write these things out.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with like knowing your learning style. Try different learning styles, because I learned the exact same way that you're describing. The only way I could pay attention in lecture is if I was actively writing down notes. If I stopped writing notes, like I would not be listening to anything they were saying. So I just made sure like I was always taking notes. And then same way for studying, like if I'm reading the textbook, I'm not comprehending anything. So I would like read the textbook, write down what I thought was important, and like make like study, really good like, notes. Like an outline.
I loved outlines.
For like chapter to chapter.
And even if I didn't look back at the notes, the act of writing them down really helped solidify like whatever I was trying to learn.
See, I feel like writing it down didn't work for me. I like typing it down because I would sometimes try like writing it by hand, taking my notes, and I felt like it wasted too much time, and like I don't know. But typing it and having like an outline, and I would just like review the outline like before the exams, and like obviously I would study it, but like I just liked that better, and it looked more organized, so I liked it better.
Oh yeah, I think sometimes if I didn't rewrite it, I would transcribe it, but it was like again just another format to process it through your brain. I think I was scared because I know myself and lack self-control sometimes. And so you'd be in a lecture hall and you look at other people with their laptops and they're watching a football game, they're watching soccer, doing other things, online shopping, and you're just like, I had to remove distractions.
That's like, I agree. That's like exactly why I wouldn't type my notes out, because if I had my laptop open, I would be on Facebook or whatever.
iMessage.
I'm not going to be like typing notes.
You're browsing.
Yeah.
But obviously, everyone's different, so
it
works for Marisol.
Practice your learning styles, or try a couple of them out and figure out what works for you.
So I just started this, and it might be a little different comparing Worcester to OSU, because Worcester class sizes were a lot smaller. when you go to class and the professor sees you going to class, that actually helps you out when you're like, make it or break it kind of grades. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like if you do bad on an exam, but the teacher sees that you're trying, they're more willing to kind of like give you a second chance. Like, I'll give you an extra credit project, or you're at a 69 or, 79%.
Nice.
I'll bump you up to the
Rough.
next percentage, next letter grade.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
definitely.
Even go to office hours. Befriend your professor. I was
Yes.
bad at this, but like in my like Spanish classes or like my music classes, like just random ones that I was actually interested in as like an elective, you go to office hours even once every, let's say like 2 or 3 times a semester. You make an impression on the professor.
Yeah.
And again, they're likely to help you if you're at that 78%. Maybe they'll give you that
You're like on the
freaking
fence.
B minus.
Yeah, get to know your professors so that they get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in with questions. Like, I definitely came in a couple times stressed, and like they had to like kind of like you're fine, like you're actually like doing really good. I've seen you participate. I know that you're there every day. Nerd, don't you have a light? No, I'm just kidding. But they're like, yeah, you're gonna be fine. And then lo and behold, you submit that essay and you get great feedback. Yeah, it's obviously they're passionate about what they're teaching. And so if anyone comes in and shows interest, ask good questions. Even if you just show up and have a coffee and they're just like, I just want to like chat with you. Like, what was your kind of path? Because everyone's still figuring it out, even professors,
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's nice to check in on them too. And they'll look out for you.
Gonna be honest, I did not go to a single office hours when I was in
didn't
college.
either.
I was like too scared. Plus, I mean, I'm a good enough student that I didn't feel the need to
Right.
like get more practice in, I guess. But I will say there was one class specifically. So Ohio State, with your first 2 years, you do have like classes with like hundreds of students. But junior, senior year, once you like pick your major, they're much more specialized classes. So I was definitely having classes like 20 students in it. And one of those classes was like participation was required as part of your grade. So like if
Yeah.
you didn't participate very much, I think the highest grade you could possibly get was like a B.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not settling for no B. So I always participated, but I could tell like the professor knew who I was and he really appreciated when I would participate, because a lot of times no one wanted to raise their hand and
Yeah.
he'd be like, come on. And then he'd see me raise my hand and be like, yes, please, Sam, go
Yeah.
ahead. So that was great. But yeah, it's also like raising your hand in class. It's another way for the professors to get to know you, recognize your face, and like see that you're making an effort.
Yeah.
So this is a tip I want to bring up sooner rather than later. Don't buy your textbooks right away. Okay. Figure out what textbooks you need for your class and then literally Google search the name of the textbook
Yeah.
and then PDF, because for half your classes, you'll just be able to find a free PDF copy online.
Yeah.
And I will say with that, like if the professor says buy version 10 of the textbook and you find maybe version 8 of the PDF online, most times that's going to be sufficient. Like there's not significant changes version to version. So if you find an older one, odds are that's going to have most of the material that you need in it.
And I feel like oftentimes they will point out like the new found information in lectures. So you can kind of piece it all together as long as you have the baseline knowledge of
I was
8th
gonna
edition or
say
whatever.
what I would do, I think my junior year and senior year, I would wait the first week to see like exactly how much are we using this textbook.
Yeah.
And then from there I would base like what I actually need to get.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
is like a lot of times classes give you like 2 weeks before you can drop it. Wait it out. Obviously go to every class to kind of feel it out. One, to decide if you want to stay in the class or not, but also you're going to find out. And sometimes they'll even tell you straight up, I listed 8 books that are readings. You only really need these 3. These 2 would be helpful if you ever wanted to get deeper into the knowledge. And the other ones are kind of like whatever. So if you show up with all 8 books,
Yeah.
you're going to be down like $150, if
Or
not
more,
more.
yeah.
And then you're going to feel dumb sometimes. That you,
Also,
Yeah.
I think Chegg does like a free trial of like 2 months, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can cancel it before it charges you.
Just make a million emails.
Yeah, just tip.
But I mean, yeah. Sometimes they'll tell you to buy the textbook and you don't open it once. Like I definitely had textbooks that I
Yeah.
bought brand new and I didn't open them a single time. The only time you really need them is like when it's an online textbook with online homework, obviously you
Yeah.
always buy those.
Yeah.
Or if it's like a class with required readings from the textbooks, then yes, go ahead, like buy it. If you can't find a PDF version online, but
Honestly, pair up with someone else in the class. If you
Yeah.
absolutely need the
Yeah.
textbook, buy it, share it.
For sure.
Yeah,
I
if you
did that
have
a
a
couple
friend,
times.
If you absolutely need the textbook. And honestly, the only times you should need a textbook is if it's like a math class and your homework's
like
in the
need that
textbook.
code.
You definitely
right.
need it.
Yeah.
But like even if you have friends like later on when have electives, maybe your friend took that class the semester before.
Oh,
Odds
yeah.
are the readings are gonna be the same.
Yeah, buy used books. Damn.
Pay them $15. They'll get a
You're
Chipotle
gonna
burrito
use that
and be
book
happy.
one time and never see it again.
I feel like one time I also did not want to buy a textbook. I like took pictures of somebody else's
Yes,
textbook.
I 100%
Other
did
people
that
would
too.
do that too.
Yeah, like I would just use my phone and take pictures of
Yep.
whatever chapter I needed that week and use
Yeah.
that. I would not. I'd be like, "Can I see your textbook really quick?" Snap pics, and then that was that.
Honestly, people don't care.
Yeah.
I even asked people like, "Could you send me them?" And some people would.
I would be like, yeah.
After a while, they were like, they got
Dude.
weird about it, which is totally understand. I understand now, like that I'm not a freshman in college. I'm like, why don't they want to send me photos of their textbook? But it's annoying, you know.
It is
Do the
annoying.
work.
I knew this guy and he had a PDF version of like a textbook and he was selling it to people because he could make
What?
multiple copies.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is
Yeah.
like they'd be like, I bought it for $90, but if you pay me $10, I'll send you every
He'd
chapter.
sell it for 20.
It's like a move.
Yeah.
It's still a
Hustle.
bargain.
And you still get a deal and you get the
Yeah.
material you need.
And they get
It
their
would-
mon-
I mean, honestly, win-win for everybody.
Literally, they get their hustle. They probably make more than what they paid for.
Yeah.
But they're putting in the work to do that. You're just paying $10 and getting
Dude,
your
that's
stuff.
hustling. That's finessing the system.
That's college, man.
That's
you
college,
find your hustle
literally.
in college.
Yeah, Oscar stole my tip. But to be fair, Oscar's the one that told me that tip.
Okay,
so,
so you wrote it down.
He told me when I was in
Forgiven.
school, so that I actually used his
Yeah.
tip. So.
Ooh, well, I'm remembering because this idea keeps coming in and out. Do your research before scheduling your classes. I don't know if this is still a thing,
Oh,
but
yeah.
ratemyprofessor.com
Oh, I love
was
that.
the next
Yes.
bullet on my
was
list.
huge.
I love Rate My
Literally,
Professor.
Because you will have a course and there will be 4 instructors for it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll soon find out. There's always one hard ass
Yeah.
teacher who's like, they make their own book, they sell it to you, and they have
Their-
homework every
Yes,
session.
way more than all the other professors for the same class.
Yes.
What is the reason?
So like my example was labor law. Like this was the hardest class in our kind of curriculum. If you had Professor Gold, he was like this 70-plus-year-old professor, had his little canister with his tea, but he would write his own book, and it was he would do logic puzzles, and there was a quiz, the risk of a pop quiz every day.
I had a professor like that.
And his
Oh.
quizzes were like, don't guess, because either you get a point if you get it right. If you guess, you get minus points, however many
Ugh,
you guess wrong.
terrible.
And if you leave it
Gives
blank,
me
you get
anxiety.
0. So you could take a quiz and
Get
leave with like
negative
negative
points.
7. Like I had a friend who was like, dude, I got negative 12 on that test. I was like, dude, you should have just
dude.
not answered.
How long were these pop quizzes?
There were like 10 questions or something. It would depend
Dang.
on the chapter.
Okay.
And then you had the other professor. I forget what her name, because I didn't have her. But it was like, so Professor Gold was in class quizzes, participation, and then you had like 3 like big labor cases or whatever, and that was pretty much your whole grade. Meanwhile, the other professor had like 3 or 4 essays, so they were like more split up, and they were like way easier workload. Like
Yeah.
the class filled up, so I had to take Professor Gold's class. It was hard, but it was so fun because it was like logic puzzles and stuff. And so I found my stride and actually ended up getting like an A- maybe. And that was like unheard of for
Dang.
like some of our friend group. So I felt good. I would say challenge yourself if you're feeling iffy, but do your
But don't
research,
challenge
dude.
yourself too much.
If you need,
oh
like,
my
if you can
gosh.
avoid it,
Yeah.
Take the
go
easy
to rate
path.
my,
Dude.
rate my professor and look at the people that comment and leave reviews or descriptions of like them. That's really
Yeah.
helpful.
I've always been like bad at like history. History has always been like my worst course. I just don't have like I'm not
Yeah.
interested in it. I don't care about it. But it's always a requirement. So like in college when we had to do like a history GE, I literally left it for like last minute. Absolutely when I couldn't like hold it off anymore. So I was like, how about this like African American class? I don't know what it was, but it was like African American history or whatever. And I think I went on Rate My Professor, and it was like, yeah, professor's really, like, he's very strict, but, like, you learn a lot from him, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I went to the first class, and he literally came into the room, and he was, like, so intimidating. He was like, you'll learn a lot here, but you need to pay attention. Also, we have like a bunch of pop quizzes, so if you're not in it to like actually learn, you need to leave.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
They were like,
Our professors,
bye.
Yeah,
Did you leave?
I didn't leave mid, but as soon as like after like for the first 10 minutes, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back to this class. I was like, I can't do this. I need like an easy history class, but none of the
Yeah.
history class were like easy where like I actually have to pay attention.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
took like a European like history class, and I sat in the front row, and the teacher was like a TA, so he was cool, and I would ask questions, and I would meet with him afterwards if I had any questions, because I was like, I can't fuck up this class.
See, in my department, there was one professor for the macroeconomics, and he was the only professor, and his class was like the hardest econ class, just because he was so picky, like with what he wanted. My junior year, he took what do they call it? 1 year
Sabbatical.
Yeah, like he went to do some research, and so they had a visiting professor, and I'm like, this is my year. This is my
Yeah.
year to take this class.
So you avoided him?
Yeah.
Dude,
Nice.
that's so clutch. But yeah, I had a similar things like Marisol, where it was like first year writing seminars, and it was like cool. It was like a cool subject, like the apocalypse. Like we're gonna examine different literature and media. Like we're gonna watch movies and do a bunch of cool stuff that had to do with the end of the world. And this was me coming off of Philosophy and Death was my last one, and it was some grad student. She was chill as heck. It was like a philosophy course.
He was so cool.
But anyways, I go into the apocalypse thing. And he's like, just so you guys know, a lot of you guys are going to work really hard in this course, and you probably won't get higher than a B. And it was like 15 people of us in there, and he kept talking and talking. He's like, yeah, we're going to have mandatory movie screenings every Saturday evening.
Oh.
And so we were all just like, what the heck? And I kid you not, as we walked out of the 15, I think like 9 of us dropped the course as we were like leaving the room.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why?
It was so...
I understand why they make courses like that so difficult. Like,
Right, like,
for
if you're-
what is the reason?
Like if that's like your field of study, I can see why staying and like, but like I give zero fucks about history.
Right, we're just
Well,
trying to pass.
why would you, as a professor, like not want your students to have good grades? I guess, like if they're saying
Yeah.
like the highest you can get is a B in this class, like
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want it so that people can get A's?
I think they just want to focus on the people that are actually interested in it. I don't know.
So
to be
here's
honest.
here's the thing, because he was like also a grad student, and he seemed young. He was like young, had long hair, so he gave like bro vibes.
Yeah.
But then he started talking, and we're like, whoa. So I wonder if like after everything, the dust settled, I wonder if he was like, yeah, I was just weeding people out, and like
Maybe.
it's gonna be chill.
And also,
But
I just feel
I
like
was
some
not worth the
people's-
risk.
Some people's
Yeah.
teaching style is like that. Like
Mm.
it's intimidating and like
They love the power dynamics. of it.
right.
Yeah, I wanted to mention when you said you had that one law class with the pop quizzes. I think
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, but I had to take like a business law, and I took 2 classes. And I remember one of those classes, I think it was the second one. There was a really hard professor for it, and it had required readings. And the professor, he had kind of like a rule. If he asked a question about the reading, and he would randomly pick on people basically in the
Yeah.
class to answer the question. And if the first person didn't get it right, he'd pick one more person. And if they didn't get it right, the whole class had to do a pop quiz.
Okay, so we did talk about this before, because that's exactly how
Yeah.
the labor law class was too. Is like the first person, they would ask people and they would freeze.
Yeah.
Everyone would take out a piece of paper. We're like, oh,
Yeah, literally. No, but like a lot of the time people did know the answers because they were like scared to get pop
Right,
Yeah.
that's fear. That's teaching
Yeah.
with fear.
But I
and,
mean,
like,
it worked for me. I did every reading, and I always wanted him to pick on me because I was like, I will know
About
the
to get
answer.
it.
like you will save the
yeah,
class.
but
Yeah.
you're you. If I would have been taking that class, even if I did the reading, I would still be anxious as fuck. Because what if you
Yeah.
asked me something that I didn't actually like
It
quite
was-
understand? Like Oh
no,
my god.
it would be
Too much
questions
pressure.
that you would know the answer to if you did the reading.
But
Like,
even
it
then,
wasn't too
I'd still be
complicated.
anxious. I'd be like,
But
he's gonna pick on me.
It's a lot
it
of
was
pressure.
almost like
Yeah.
a game in class. Like,
Nah, I hate that game.
I'm like on my
Yeah.
toes. I'm ready to answer. But yeah, so there were several times where like it'd be all right, papers out, pop quiz. The pop quiz would only end up being 3 questions. And again, if you did the reading, you would know the answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was like a good way to make students do the readings.
By
But
fear.
it sucked when like you got called out and you didn't know the answer and you're blowing it for the whole class.
Yeah. My freshman year, I had a professor that would give 1 pop quiz a week. It was either Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. Or sorry, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. And I would on and off do the readings.
It was like a gamble.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, there'd be some days where I'm like aced it 10 out of 10. And then in other days I'd get like a 2 out of 10. And on one of my quizzes, she wrote, I can't tell if you're doing the readings or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, when professors leave you notes like that, they sting. You're like, ooh.
Okay, but also I feel like professors like just give us like an insane number of pages we have to read like before the
Yeah.
next
Oh,
class.
100%.
Like, do you not know how many other classes I have shit to do on? It would be like 30 to 40 pages.
And
I'm
then-
like, how is this realistic?
You know what? We were talking, me and Sam were talking about dreams earlier, and actually, that's one of my reoccurring dreams.
Yo.
Where professors give me too much work, and I'm like, show up to class, I'm like, shoot, I haven't been doing the work for this class for the last 2 weeks.
Those are the, and then you wake up in the morning like, I didn't do the homework, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm 26.
Yes.
I graduated.
I have dreams like that all the
They're
time.
so scary though. That just
Yeah.
reminds me. I was like, okay, I got to
It's so
like literally
I
the
stressful.
don't
hardest
have
part.
those
Oh, gosh.
dreams.
I don't want to get too deep in the dream convo. I do want to dedicate a whole podcast
Okay.
episode to
All right.
dreams, but
Sneak
good
peek.
tidbit. That will be coming soon. Maybe next week we'll talk dreams,
For
but
sure.
I definitely have some recurring ones I want to talk about.
Okay, yeah. I'll start
I
thinking
have
about
some
that.
crazy
That's so
dreams.
funny.
Yeah, start writing them down. You wake up in the middle of the night in a sweat. Write it down. This is not really. This is kind of going back in the conversation again. But I know you mentioned like you hate history classes, and I also hate history classes. But I took a Latino history class at OSU, and I actually enjoyed it a ton because I was like, wait, I'm learning like Latin American history and like
Yeah.
stuff about my culture that I never learned in school. So it was actually very interesting, and it was very easy to pay attention. So I would say if you don't like history, look into like what the options are and try to pick something that you're like can relate to the most or would be the most interested in. That's just, I don't know. I took a lot away from that class. It was
I actually
Yeah.
learned a lot from my European class. Like the TA was really like helpful. Like I loved his teaching style, and he seemed like one of our friends. Like he would talk to us like we were bros or something.
Yeah.
And and the class was small because obviously not a lot of people want to take European history, so he knew us all. And that's why I set myself in the front, because I was like, I need to pass this class. Like, I don't want to get like a shitty grade for a history class I give 0 fucks about.
Okay, so one thing I will say, I was a tour guide, right? And so obviously we had like little jokes and tidbits and stuff. But like one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that like Cornell had like 1,000+ student clubs, right? And so if you think about it, that's like any interest you might have or might want to pursue, there's probably a club for it. So like our little thing was like, there's a group of students, there's a club of students that go around campus and watch the squirrels on campus. So that's the Squirrel Watchers Club. But it was so easy to make a club if you just like
Yeah.
found 4 or 5 friends, got a professor as an advisor. Whatever theme it was, you could make a club for it. So the joke was, then a new club started after that, where there was a group of students who would watch the students watching the squirrels, called the Squirrel Watchers Club. And it's like dumb and silly.
What?
It's like, but literally,
Someone was like, approved.
yeah, no, for real. They're just
What the
like,
hell?
I know professor was
that would
probably
prove
like,
anything.
that's funny, I'll do it, ha ha ha. But and obviously the professors, depending on the club, aren't always super involved or not. But put yourself out there, try something new. I guess in my situation, it was like, I thought after I graduated, I was like, okay, I did musical theater. I'm not going to do musical theater anymore. That was like a high school thing, whatever. But then I feel like I talked about this on the podcast where I auditioned one semester and then didn't get in and then auditioned again. And that became like my family.
Yeah, it's when you didn't have any friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But then you can
No,
just
yeah.
like pursue any interest that you have. Like, again, I was in a frat, a social fraternity. I was in that musical theater troupe. I was in the tour guides, which was kind of like its own frat in itself. Like, put yourself out there, try something new. I didn't think I was going to love walking backwards and telling new students about how cool our school was, but I fell in love with that type of stuff. If you're into
Well,
K-pop, rap, whatever, like musical interests, video games are like huge now, esports and all that.
Yeah.
Just like try something new. I went to a few club meetings for like the debate club, like Spanish debate. They went on a bunch of cool trips that were paid for by the school. I never committed to it, so I didn't like get to go to Cuba like the one year. I regret some of the things there, but just try stuff.
Yeah.
You know, don't
I
be
feel
afraid
like
to try.
Ohio State didn't have many like Hispanic clubs.
I was involved in 2. I guess it's not many. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was
I mean,
definitely others though.
Yeah.
Like there was some that were specific to certain colleges. Like there was a Hispanic club for engineering students, a Hispanic club for business students, which I was in, and like other clubs for minorities that wasn't just Hispanic focused, but you could join and stuff like that.
yeah,
I guess.
I think most schools at least have one like Hispanic club because Worcester had one. I was involved with it. But yeah, I think freshman year is the best time to like get involved on campus and like find different communities or just things that you want to do. And yeah, like it's a good point. If there isn't a group or community or something that you're interested in, just like start one. Like there's this guy in my grade that started the barbecue club.
Ooh.
And so him and like 4 of his friends would just like, they got money from like the school and then for their club, and then they would just grill. Like then even if you don't like it, you don't have to stick with that group.
You have 4
Yeah,
years. Like
yeah.
try and fail. Like that's.
I was gonna say even like not even freshman year, but any year, it's a great time to join orgs because I didn't join like the Latino Student Association until my sophomore year, and I didn't even make long-lasting friends in that club until junior year. So it was like later in college, but I met Marisol there, and now she's my closest friend. So
that is crazy to think about.
if I didn't try new things even later on in school, I would have much different experience, I guess.
I did intramural soccer team
Ooh,
sophomore year.
yeah.
It was terrible. I sucked at it. Everyone was good, so I only did like 3 games and then I stopped going.
It's funny though with those intramural sports. Sometimes they just need bodies on the field, so they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, anyone show up."
My brother
Well,
would, because my brother's the one that convinced me. He was like, "No, there's a lot of people there that don't know what they're doing." And there was no one there.
Everyone at
there
intramural
was
has
good.
played soccer in
Yes.
high school.
Yeah.
Like they've played before and they just want to keep playing, but not at the collegiate level.
right?
Yep.
Like a more chill, like
Yeah.
fun, social kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. I didn't join like Sabor Latino, which was like the Latin dance ensemble, until my senior year, and it's one of those things that's like, dang, I like heard of them. I knew that they were a group, but I like never put myself out there. I was like, oh, I'm not a good enough dancer or whatever. Because I mean, I would just dance with like at family parties and stuff like that. But it was super fun. I was like, dang, that was like the Latino kind of aspect of my college. I only really got that senior year. I was like, wow, I wish I would have tapped into this
Sooner.
freshman, sophomore, even junior year. I made the most of it my senior year. But yeah, don't be afraid to try things. Even if you're like, oh, I did this in high school, it's cringe, whatever you might be thinking, give it a shot. You might, if nothing else, you'll probably make a couple friends that
Yeah,
you'll
definitely.
keep in contact with.
I would say in college, there's more people that share similar interests versus like high school. Like there's more people out there willing to pursue those interests.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and also that's the thing. When you join these clubs, you're meeting people with like directly the same exact interest
Yeah.
as you. So like right off the bat, you have something to talk about.
100%. And you can branch out from there. You hang out with them more. You're like, oh, you also like this. And then boom, lifelong friends sitting
Yeah.
right here.
So another tip I have is when you're on campus, for whatever amount of time you're there, 4 years, 5 years, use the facilities.
Yeah.
And that includes the cafeteria. Like,
I thought you were gonna say the gym.
well,
No.
no, like, because I do mean the gym, but the cafeteria as well. Because, like, you know, at Worcester, the meal plan was, like, you got to swipe to go in, and it was all you could eat. And it's like, if you get to the end of the year and you have 90 swipes, you just lose them. So
That's
it's like,
true. Yeah.
and it's like nice because you don't have to cook for yourself. And when you get out of school, you're like, dang, like, how was I eating before? But yeah, like, use the gym. Like, it's most campuses have
Free.
it
I
for free.
loved
Yeah.
I
Or
loved
low cost.
Ohio State's gym.
And
Rec
I will
Center.
say, I didn't go to the gym that much until maybe like my junior, senior year. And even if you don't like traditional working out, a lot of times they offer classes that you can
Yeah.
sign
Dude.
up for.
They had the best Zumba classes at the rec center.
Or like
what was it
yoga.
called? Wait, what's our gym called?
RPAC?
RPAC. They had the best Zumba classes on Thursday nights. They also had yoga classes. And I
Yeah,
went
they
to
had
them.
good yoga classes.
But whenever I didn't feel like actually working out, I would go to the classes. But they were literally like my highlights of the day.
Yeah.
You would have loved it. But it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like at Cornell, we had to take 2 physical education courses.
Wow.
Yeah, so like
Really?
unless you got to buy if you were a varsity athlete. But fun tidbit, every Cornell alumni knows how to swim because they have a swim test. Mm-hmm.
So
And
you did a swim test?
I did a swim test. It's like you do
What?
it during orientation week when you first
That's
get there as a
scary.
freshman. And it's easy.
So they're like, orientation, bring your swim trunks.
yes. Like
Oh,
literally it's
wow.
like don't forget your swim trunk, like, and it's
What?
super easy.
Why?
Front stroke, whatever, on your front, and then backstroke, 1 lap, and then third lap is however you want to get across. I definitely doggy paddled my last one,
I was gonna say I was just talking about all of them.
but I made it, and so I passed. But
Was
if
it
you,
back to back, like no breaks? They just wanted you
yes,
to swim like 3
you have
times
to do
up
3
and
laps.
Okay, but also
one go.
why?
It's I forget why, but it's
down? I feel like it's just tradition at this
it's
point.
like a tradition at this point. It's like since its inception, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, long tradition. But it's funny because if you fail, the first physical education course you sign up for is swimming 101.
Wow.
Okay, I
So
mean,
that
honestly,
takes up one?
that could save lives.
I was gonna
No,
say,
and
honestly,
it's-
they are saving lives.
It's
'Cause
huge.
A lot of people don't know how to swim, and it's so easy to drown.
As an adult
Yeah.
that doesn't know how to
Yeah.
swim,
It can be scary, and I mean we have a lot of like you would think, oh, in America like everyone knows how to swim, but we have a lot of international students too. Who knows what anyone's background is? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's a cool little tidbit, and I'm glad that I passed, so I didn't have to waste a semester learning to swim.
Thank you, YMCA.
Thank you, MCA. Thank you for failing me 7 times so I could do the
Honestly,
first level.
Also, that creates diversity because let's be honest, I feel like if you grew up with money, you likely know how to swim.
Yeah, so we all deserve pool time, baby.
Yeah.
And so my first semester did Latin dance, and I was like, oh, I know how to dance. But it was a great social thing because they would have us in big circles and the partners would switch around. I made one of my friends that I like keep on contact with still. We met during that Latin dance class, so that was pretty cool. But then I also took bowling. I forget where I was going with this, but just use the facilities.
Yeah, use the facilities.
Take advantage of the classes. It's never too late to start. I mean, I'm the worst person to advocate for this because I don't go to the gym, but I want to. And in college, it's so easy to stay active
Yeah.
if you have the discipline to apply yourself. So get out there. It's great for your brain, dude. Like the science is behind it. If you're working out, you're just creating a great way for you to learn and just excel outside of the classroom.
Stay away of those freshmen 15.
That's
Yeah.
also true because the all-you-can-eat dining halls are great, but if you don't have self-control like this guy, bada bing, bada boom, 20 pounds are for you.
Honestly, the post-graduation 15 is worse.
Oh gosh.
When you get into the corporate world, at least for me.
the
You got money, you're like,
relationship-
all right.
You get in the
The
corporate
relationship
world.
15.
You got money to buy your own food, or your company buys you food all the time.
Right, and you're just
I
like, I
was-
need something quick. It's easy to create.
Anyways,
habits, so.
yeah, we're talking about college, and
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a controversial tip, but this is something I lived and died by in college. If you're debating like going out at night, but you're like, but I have a lot of homework to do, I have like a big test coming up, think about it. It's Saturday night at 10 p.m. Are you actually going to be productive and do any homework that night
Right.
or not? The answer most likely is no. So don't worry about it. Just go out. Just go out with your friends and have fun. Like, worry about it on Monday
Yeah.
or
that-
Sunday.
That's what the Sunday scaries are for.
Unless your homework is due at 11:59 that night, then
Right.
you
Do
should
it.
do homework.
Well,
Submit
Then go
it
out.
and go
Then
out
go out.
after because you need
Yeah.
to celebrate once you get that paper submitted.
Honestly, I really didn't have any classes that had stuff due at
A
midnight
lot
on
of my
Saturday.
Dude, some of
but
mine were
you
like that. They
did.
were
Classes
stressful.
did.
You did, and
Stressful.
that's disappointing. But
And it almost
Right.
affected the night. One night, me and Sam were gonna go out.
because you're not gonna remember the night that you stayed up studying. But you
Yeah,
are gonna remember the
exactly.
night you went out to that crazy party.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but then I'll remember the
100%.
next morning when I get a 0 on whatever I had to turn in.
Well, if do your assignment on
Right.
Thursday instead of waiting until
But I
Saturday.
know what you mean, like, because there'll be
Yeah.
some class, like Friday classes, or it's like, oh, it has to be in by 11:59.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's the first priority. Get that assignment done, but as
Yeah.
soon as it's done, time to go out.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the optional work. Like I
Yeah.
had friends that would be like, "No, I'm not going out because I need to study for my exam on Monday."
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's 10 p.m. You're not gonna
Yeah, all
retain
fun.
anything you
but
read
this goes
right
back
now."
to like the learning styles. I was a great procrastinator, dude. If I had an exam, I would pull an all-nighter the night before.
But that doesn't have to do with going out. Don't.
No, because some people
You're
like
trying to
actually.
negate my
I'm saying
point.
some people actually need to take time to like learn what they're gonna for their exam.
Those
I
people
did
were
it.
lame.
I say
Go
those,
out.
but you can
No.
do that during the day. You don't have to like sacrifice your night.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
gonna just sit. You're gonna be like, let me study till 1 a.m. You're gonna spend half of that time watching other people's Snap stories, Instagram
Yeah, you're gonna
stories.
be on your phone.
You're gonna be salty. Just
Right.
if you can't, again, if it's not due that night, suck it up. Because I'm also a huge procrastinator. I lived and died by, if you wait to the last minute to do something,
only takes a minute.
only takes a minute,
Yeah,
and,
and
you
I'm
will figure it out.
I am also a procrastinator. I would cram like the day to like finals week. I was cramming just that whole week. I was dedicated to cramming, and I would do great. But like other than that, I'm going out Thursday night. I'm going out Friday night. I'm going out
Yeah.
Saturday night because I know I'm not gonna productively like learn anything in
Yeah.
those evenings. I'm not gonna retain anything.
I rarely
I
had
wanna have a
stuff
good
due
time.
like over the weekend.
Yeah, it was just if you had one
Yeah.
of those
Sometimes
crazy
I would
professors.
have like stuff due Friday, like at midnight. That would be the only time.
Yeah.
But Saturdays and Sundays, no, actually, I had Sunday stuff.
No, but yeah,
No, most
it's,
of my stuff was due on Sunday. That's
it's like if I really need to study, I'll just do it Sunday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because yeah, I feel like a lot of my friends were like, "Sam, like you're going out way too much." Like I went out the most out of all my friends, and they
That's
were
so
like,
funny.
"Yeah,
Just because like in high school you were not that.
no,
And
not at all."
College lesson. Let yourself grow. Change.
Yeah, but I was
Have fun.
going out the most out of like my friends in any friend group, pretty much,
As you should.
as I should have, and I had a great time. And I was like, it was a little annoying because honestly, they'd be judging me like.
Really?
Yeah, they would
Aw.
be. They'd be like,
Who?
"What?"
Can you say names?
I mean, I can cut it out. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like
I don't know. When I would sometimes when Sam would convince me to go out Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and sometimes Sunday night, I would be like, "Well, I can't believe I just did that. That was fun."
It
I
was
think,
fun. You're
I
I
just
was like, I don't know if I can do
Yeah.
that every weekend.
remember
but-
when we went on that bender? Like great memories.
I
So
think-
remember when I stole that traffic cone, Sam?
yeah. See, I think 1 week I went out 6 out of 7 nights.
Damn.
It was also like a long weekend. Like I think it was like Memorial Day weekend or something, or
It was,
Labor
like,
Day, whichever
when
one it is.
classes are off.
Labor Day weekend because that's the one in September.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So me and my one friend Emma, not this Emma but other Emma, we went out like 6 nights in a row, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, like my friends would judge me for how much I went out, but I was like, I'm still doing very well in all my classes. I still have like
I
a
would have loved to do that.
3.9
That's
GPA. I think I'm
unfortunate.
doing fine.
Right. Right.
See, I liked having a big friend group because if one person didn't want to go out, someone else would want to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes like 2 people would go out and then everyone else would be like, you know what? Let's all go out. Like they're already out.
Yeah.
Encourage each other to go out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just go out. Like, think about all the times that like I declined to going out because I was in a relationship. I think about them now, and I'm like, man, that would have been such a great night.
Imagine
Because
the
I would
memories.
look at your stories and be like, God damn it, they're having so much fun.
Dude,
I guess.
yeah.
Dude, yeah,
I
we
was,
were
I
having
was
so
gonna
much
say
fun.
I got lucky that like each year I feel like I found one friend that was willing to go out as much as I wanted to go out. That like they were on the same
Yeah.
level as me. So if like no one else wanted to go, I knew this person would always go with me.
For sure. So I guess it's kind of an extension of what you and Oscar said. Again, I was in a frat, so living with 20 people.
Yeah, you're gonna find
Someone's-
somebody.
Someone's either playing Catan, having some drinks, doing video games or whatever. And you guys had a similar experience where you guys lived in a place with 7 or 8 people or something like that.
7, yeah.
Taking advantage of that. If you can find a big house and have enough friends to fill it, why not? Because when you're an adult, you're not going to want to share space with that many
No.
people.
True.
College
Actually,
is such a unique, weird time where one, it's great on your wallet, but 2, it's just like, yeah,
It's fun.
you want to
Yeah.
always have someone that's gonna ride your vibe.
yeah.
my senior year, I actually lived in a house with 2 of my really good friends, but it was like I was friends with like 5 people in the house. And we had a lot of friends that would come visit. So our place became the hangout spot.
Yeah.
So I would just come into the living room and there would be at least 2 people that are like, hey,
That's
what you guys
nice.
doing?
Agreed. Yeah, definitely once you graduate, you're like, I'm ready to live alone. Or like just with one other person max. But
Yeah.
in college, it's definitely like a unique time where you can live with a lot of people and it's like normal. If you do that older, it's just weird.
It is. Like, part of me is like, I would like to, but then I think about it, I'm like, the logistics.
Yeah.
It just would not work out, you know.
I have more tips. One of mine is if you plan to get a student job, and I do recommend getting a student
Yeah.
job so you have
It
like
helps.
expendable income to do whatever you want. Start that right away. Like as soon as you get on
Yeah.
campus, start looking for student jobs because they're filling up quickly. And
Yeah.
the sooner you start applying, like the more options you have, and you can get like a nice job where you work at a library front desk maybe, so you like can have
Do
time to do
nothing.
homework
Chill.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
that's great.
Didn't
'cause
you?
You get paid to
Yeah.
do nothing on certain jobs.
Ask the upperclassmen, what are the best jobs? What are the jobs that people want?
Yeah.
Like, I got really lucky at Worcester that the library didn't start hiring until the spring for the next semester. So I didn't start looking for a job until my second semester, freshman year. And yeah, I just got lucky. I applied and they're like, all right, you got a job for sophomore year. And working in the
nice.
library was awesome. So sophomore, junior, senior year, I would study while at work.
Yeah, and oftentimes if you get like a good job your freshman sophomore year, they'll keep you on the whole rest of your college
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
Not even upgrade you to whatever assistant manager or whatever they have, and
Yeah.
you'll get paid more. So start early.
yeah, and if you have work study, like same applies. Work study is like part of your financial package, and basically the government is paying you to work there. So a lot of times work study jobs are desk jobs where you have time to study as you work.
Yeah.
So I personally did that at the Multicultural Center. I was like at the front desk, so I just talked to people when they came in or answered the phone. But most of the time I could just focus on my schoolwork. That's probably when I got all my homework done, actually.
I was
Not-
gonna
Yeah,
say that's
right.
probably when you
now
got your
that I
homework.
think about it, because I was working at least like 15 hours a week, like nothing
Yeah.
crazy, but definitely like plenty of time to get all my schoolwork done. So yeah, take advantage, look for types of jobs like that. It's way better than working in a dining hall and you won't have
Yeah.
any time to do any schoolwork and you're going to smell like food. Regardless, if you just need a job and that fulfills it, that's great too. But yeah, look as early as you can. You'll have better options, and it's also a great place to make friends because like I worked at the
100%.
Multicultural Center, so it was like a bunch of minorities that worked there, and I made a lot of great friends that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few of my really good friends actually I met by working at the library.
I worked at the Arts and Sciences Advising. So I
Ooh.
worked on the phones. I pretty much just answer like students' calls, and whenever they would try to schedule an advising appointment, which it would take like 3 minutes to like set it up, and then that would be it. So most of the time I was either doing homework or watching Netflix.
Yeah. And for me, it was the tour guides. Like, that was a work study for me. So I was getting paid to do that. It was also a fun social group. For us, it was, you got to work the front desk, answer questions, do the actual tours, or work at the switchboard. So being a New York State, like the New York State school, we would get random calls from anyone in the state of New York. They had, so one of the weirdest calls I got, I pick up the phone. This was like also my second day working, right?
Okay.
And they're like, hey, is this Cornell? I was like, yeah, what's up? They're like, there's these ravens in my area, right? I'm like, okay, yeah. They're like, can I kill them? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, they're ruining all my crops. So we also have a big agriculture school, so they would come with the most random questions.
That's
of
so
course, you
funny.
can divert that to whatever proper department. But yeah, it was
Can I kill them?
You could do your homework and all that stuff, watch YouTube, whatever, and you got paid for it. And it was a
Yeah.
pretty good, like decent, I think it was like $12 or something. So yeah, work 10, 15 hours a week. You have some spending money, some food money. Once you hit that age, drinking money, all good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a different tip.
Okay.
So for me, I had a few study groups. Basically that, like, if it works for you, if you can make it work, form study groups and claim your territory.
What do you mean?
Ooh,
Like in
yeah.
the library?
Yes. So I had a few friends that we would study in the library and we would study in the collaboration rooms. So nothing's worse than going to the library at like 6 p.m. and there's no place to sit. And then
Ooh,
you're
that
like,
does suck.
where am I going to study? Like, I don't want to study in my room. So at least one of us would go to the library at like 3-4 o'clock and claim a study room. And then the rest of us, whether we planned it or unplanned it, would be there and be like, hey, we're going to join you. So then it's like, sometimes it would just be 2 people. Sometimes it'd be like 6 people. But yeah, like we had, like, that was our turf. Like, you know, people see you in that collaboration room and they're not going to go in there. So like if I needed a space to study, it was always available. But yeah, the only thing you have to be careful with study groups is like how close are you with the people? Like you have to know when you will and won't be productive with them.
Yeah,
Because there's
that's true.
some times where we'll like goof off and then we don't end up doing any work. But there's other times where we're all in the zone, just kind of all doing our own thing, and every like few
I would
once
call
in
it the golden hour every time I go to the library. Like the first hour of being there, absolutely do zero work. Just goof around. But then that second hour starts.
You're like,
I'm
time to
getting
get
down to
You gotta
serious.
crack down.
Right.
That was the worst. You're like, all right, I'm gonna give myself 10 minutes. I'm gonna scroll, and then you're like, it's been 12 minutes. I gotta give myself 10 more minutes,
my God.
and then it would just keep adding on. And then you're like, okay, it's been 40 minutes. I should start studying.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like it can be fun to study with friends, but it's a delicate line of like, am I studying or am I just hanging out?
Yeah.
For us, we had like a bunch of libraries, and they're all different, right? Some of them are like the stacks, pin drop quiet. If that's your vibe, sometimes you need to crack down, do that.
Yeah.
Then there's also more social libraries. And if you're like more chilling or you have a friend group, kind of find your vibe in that. But a specific strategy is called like the I had an app called Pomodoro, and I forget what the actual method is called, but the idea is you study hard, turn your phone off, no distractions for 20 minutes. Study hard 20 minutes, and after those 20 minutes, you give yourself a 5-minute break. So after the first 20 minutes and 5-minute break, you study again for another 20 minutes. And again, you give yourself a 5-minute break. But then every third break, you give yourself either a 15 to 20-minute break. So that kind of helps your brain kind of decompress. You're really cracking down each of those 20 minutes. And of course, depending on the course, like if I wasn't writing a paper, like if you're in the zone and you're writing a paper, follow that vibe.
Yeah, keep going. Don't take the
Yeah.
break if you don't need it.
But if it's like, so like my major was industrial and labor relations, and it's ILR. And so the nickname was I Love Reading. So each class would assign us like 80 pages of reading, like every class. So you needed to break that up. Read hard for 20 minutes, get a couple pages in, and then you take that 5-minute break, scroll whatever, and then you kind of train your brain to like, kind of like a dog, kind of expect that treat, but then know that you have to grind for.
You're
those 20
Pavloving
minutes.
yourself.
Literally. And then when you get to that third one, you feel so accomplished. Like, yay, I get 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Maybe you go out, get a snack, get a coffee, what have you. But I think I picked that up later on in my career, and it ended up working out. Obviously, everyone's different. Just throwing it out
Yeah.
there in case anyone wants to give it a go.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that too. I didn't ever try it, but it's like an interesting concept. I feel like even like now in work, when I'm feeling unfocused, I should try
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, just like give yourself breaks, because the brain can only work so hard.
Have you guys ever taken naps in the library?
No.
I was
Yes.
scared.
No?
I don't know.
I did.
wasn't a
I
big...
have like on the desk, like during finals week, whenever
Oh,
I
yeah.
had like
Put
something.
Because you
your
wanted
head
to save
down.
your seat.
But I would give myself max 20 minutes. If you take more than 20 minutes, you're just gonna be so fucking tired. But that 20-minute power nap meant everything
Yeah.
to me.
You know, there's a science to that where it's the ideal power nap is, I think, 20 to 30 minutes. I think
I
20
think it's
minutes.
20. I think it's 20 is the
Yeah.
max.
But if you're
And
going
then
to
if
take
you
an actual
exceed
nap,
it, it's like
90
then
minutes, I
bad.
think.
I think it's you
'Cause
probably hit like
REM
past your
cycle.
REM cycle,
Yeah.
and so now
Yeah.
that makes you even more sleepier.
Yeah.
So when
So-
you wake up, it's like you don't feel like energized.
Yeah. So it's
So
either
20
20
minute
minutes
max.
or
Less.
90 minutes because you achieve that
Yeah.
REM cycle and get out of it.
'Cause
Because
I
when
would-
you wake up during it, that's when
Right.
you're groggy.
I would just be writing a paper and I would find myself like not really focused and like falling asleep. And sometimes I would just have to be, well, I was there with my ex-boyfriend, so it's not like I just was there and attended. But like I would be like,
Okay.
I'm going to take a 20-minute power nap. And then I would grab my hoodie or whatever and like lay down. And I would be like, can you wake me up in 20 minutes? And then he would. And I would feel so energized. and I would like finish whatever I needed to finish.
And Worcester.
So you guys had sleeping bags now.
Okay.
What?
No.
Okay, that's
Listen.
too much.
Listen, Linda.
At Worcester, every senior got assigned their own carrel, which is basically just an assigned like desk and chair that was for you specifically to like do your work. And they were like along the wall of the library. Well, working in the library, I was put at the top of the list, like because it was like a raffle, but with the people that work at the library, they get like the top spots. So there's still a
Nice.
raffle, but they get like the top spots. So I was like number 10 out of like 200 people to pick my seat, and I picked the one like cubicle, the one carrel that was like down this like specific hallway, and the only reason you would be going there was to go to your carrel. Like you wouldn't just be looking for a book and walk past it. So I put a sleeping bag in mine because it was like
Oh my
it was like a
God.
little den, like because mine was the last one. Like it was like the end of the cave. So if I ever needed a nap between class or like a nap while I was studying, I would just pull out the sleeping bag and sleep right there on the floor.
You're doing too
like,
much.
Closer than going to your room.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So it
not,
was like
that's
an,
not giving me 20-minute nap.
She asked, she said, have you ever slept in the library? Oscar's like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All the time.
I pitched a tent.
I had a sleeping bag, literally.
Did you sleep more than 20 minutes?
I don't remember.
Oh my god.
I mean,
you might as well just go home.
Usually I would do power. Well, because my dorm was like kind of further away, so I didn't want to like walk all the way
Dead of
back.
winter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like, if you want to take a nap between classes, just go to your carrel.
Yeah.
I loved naps in college, and I would have done that probably if I had the opportunity. But no, I never slept at the library because I was like, if I'm that tired, I just need to stop studying. For
feel
me, it was like never worth the all-nighter. For me, I was like, if I am this tired already, I'm not going to comprehend anything after this point, and there's nothing. Me staying here will not help me learn anything or be productive. So I'm just going to call it quits, get a good night's sleep, and start again tomorrow.
That's honestly the way to do it. I also only took 3 all-nighters my whole time, and each time it was when the big paper was due in that labor law class. But I'm like useless the next day and a half because I'm just
Yeah.
like recovering from those all-nighters.
Yeah, and maybe it would be different if I had a paper to write. Then like I'm gonna stay up till the paper gets done. But
Yeah.
for me, it was like I'm just studying for exams. I'm not gonna retain anything, and then I'm just gonna be tired during my exam. So like
Right.
it's not worth it for me. I did not do a single all-nighter in college, and I'm
I did
happy.
so many
Yeah, no,
all-nighters.
that's a good stat.
Most of like my stuff due was papers, and like a lot of my classes have papers, and I knew like during finals week I'm like, I have to get this paper done this day because the next day I have to focus on this other paper that's due on the next day, and that gives me enough time to do this other paper. So
Yeah.
I feel you.
I did a few all-nighters, but every single time it was because I had a paper that was due the next day and it had to be 10 pages or longer.
Yeah.
So
Not it.
extreme circumstances.
I will say, like, me and David did post-secondary. Oh, Oscar too.
I did
We
too.
did post-secondary, which during high school, which basically means we took college classes while we did high school classes. And I would say that helped a ton because I got my
Yes.
English out of the way in high school. I did not take a single English class at Ohio State,
Yeah.
which really helped with not needing to write papers.
Yeah.
And then I was a business major in accounting, so like we don't really need to write papers for that. So
Yeah.
it worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah,
My-
that helped me a lot because my freshman year, I was taking classes that I should have been taking sophomore year. And then same thing sophomore year and junior. Like I was ahead of my grade because I got a lot of my GEs out of the way.
Yeah.
My general education, and then just let me focus on my major.
I think it just depends on the field you go. For my field, which is social work, I had like a lot of clinical papers that I needed to write. So
Yeah, mine was essentially essays for most classes just due to the nature of what I was studying, and then some obviously like midterms and stuff like that. For me, they didn't actually take any of my credits from
Damn.
post-secondary, but I was still happy that I did it because it helped me build habits before going to college. And so I was already ready for those writing seminar courses.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I was able to feel confident I could take one that piqued my interest as opposed to what's the easiest one to take because I felt like I could handle it.
Yeah.
And I love writing. Like I've been thinking about it recently. Like I'll be like jotting down things in my notes and stuff like that. I just love writing as opposed to test taking. So I guess my major fit me in that sense.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. Like, I hate writing. I actually think I'm good at writing. I just don't like to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am really good at taking tests and making educated guesses and all that jazz.
Like
so,
deducing. And
yeah,
stuff like
so
that.
like, give me a test any day over a paper.
I hated writing papers, but I was so good at it. So
That's how I thought I was too. But then I think after a while I realized I was like, damn, I think I just like writing paper. I think I love the pressure
me
of
too.
having to write a 10-page paper
I would,
in like 8 hours. It's like, bruh.
I would give
need to do it.
myself 1 hour for the outline and 1 hour for every paper, for every page I needed to write, and I would get it done.
Honestly, and that was huge. I learned that in my first writing seminar.
The
'Cause
outline?
yes, because
Outlines were great.
Then you know what you're writing about.
I was stressed about it, and it was not even the professor that taught me it. It was like another student that like I met up with. I was like, dude, I'm freaking out. Like, this
It
thing is due in 4
organizes
hours. He's
how
like,
you
yo,
need to write the paper.
just do an outline. It'll help. And I was like, what? Coming from high school, like I feel like we never really did.
I learned that at Lakeland, actually.
I learned that in
And
high school too.
It was like, I think
Well, Lakeland was the community college.
Oh.
I learned that in the community college classes that we
yeah.
took.
And it was like, yeah, we would do it. But I was like, whatever. It was just like for that class. And so when another student kind of told me like, do it. Yeah, you kind of create the outlines and you can either fill in with information you know, or you can fluff it up a little bit and, you know, add
learned
your
it-
little twist to it.
Because I took a British lit class in high school, and she taught us like the outline thing. I was like,
It
it was actually
really-
kind of helpful.
It's so nice to just organize your thoughts. You're like, all right, this is my first argument. This is my second
like,
argument.
here are all the bullets for my first argument, and then you're like, that becomes the paragraph.
Yep.
Or a couple paragraphs. And yeah, very helpful. I guess that's a impromptu tip. Write outlines. Do outlines first before your paper. It will help immensely.
In like, especially if you're procrastinating, you're like, that's dumb. That's gonna waste my time. Let me just get like, I have what, 1,000 words. I have, whatever your assignment is. You're like, I don't want to do an outline. I just
There's
want to
just
start
no
writing.
way to free write it.
No,
Yeah.
You need to
it
have
helps.
some organization.
1 hour of outline will give you like 3 hours worth of
Yep.
material, and you'll find you'll hit a groove.
Yep. I was
Yeah.
gonna
And
say,
you're just
you'll
like,
just keep
dude,
rolling.
Yeah, because after that, it's just making like legible sentences
Yep.
that sound
Yeah.
good, but you already know exactly what you're talking about.
Damn, I want to go home and write a paper tonight.
Oh my
Absolutely
gosh.
not. I still hate writing
I'm gonna
papers.
have nightmares about school after this.
Save it for the dream episode.
Save it for the dream episode.
I do want to give one last tip. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, not even just in the classroom. We already talked about the office hours and stuff like that. But I'm just going to like throw it out there. Like, we all on this podcast come from a Latino background. And let's just be honest. A lot of our parents don't believe in this idea of like mental health resources and stuff like that. I hit a brick wall like my sophomore year. And like, it wasn't until a college mentor from high school came to visit me. I like broke down in their car. I was like, I'm struggling right now. I'm not taking care of myself. I haven't taken a higher course load, what have you. A lot of things were kind of like stressing me out. And they were just like, why don't you try talking to someone like professionally? And I mean, the blood runs deep. I was like, I felt like that was a sign of weakness. But I learned very quickly that like learning to ask for help in whatever form that is for you is actually a sign of strength.
Yeah.
Knowing your limits. We're all human. And maybe you find out that that's not the most productive way for you to figure it out. But you're not going to know if you don't try. You have family that care for you. You have friends. Don't be afraid to reach out.
You got us.
You have us. Just know that college is going to get tough. Like, we're talking about all like the highlights and stuff. But obviously, there were all-nighters in the library. There were stressful times when you had 2-3 exams in like a 2 or 3 day
finals
span.
weeks.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, a lot of times your schools have mental health resources that are free for you to use. So look into them, take advantage of it.
And even if you don't have anything like that you want to share for whatever reason, they have like brochures, or if not, they can walk you through like coping mechanisms, healthy coping mechanisms, where you can kind of think of it like a balloon, like slowly air yourself out of the stress so that you're not just like bursting like a balloon. You have to know that there are limits to your mind, your body, and you have 4 years to figure it out. But just know that people care. Your school cares as often as sometimes when I feel like they do. There are resources for you to get help. Don't be afraid to ask.
Also, your family cares, so call your family. They can always, like, you can just talk to them about whatever. Because I feel like also during college, I would get very homesick because I'm so used to seeing my parents and my siblings, like, every day, to, like, kind of being isolated from them. I mean, my family lives in Cincinnati, and I just moved to Columbus, which is, like, an hour away, but sometimes I would get homesick, or I would just miss my mom. So just, like, call your parents. I'm sure they miss you too.
I was gonna say they probably miss you more than you think.
And they probably don't want to like just like be all over your space, but
they don't want to bother you, but.
And if you're sad or going through whatever, you can talk to them. They may not know what to do, but at least like it's you reaching out to someone.
Yeah, and actually that's a good point. Like one of the reasons why I was kind of like bottling it all in was I was like, I'm an adult now. Like you're entering young adulthood. You're like, I'm an adult now. My parents have their own issues to worry about. They're not gonna want to hear this. No, they want you to be good. They want you to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. They're still your parents.
You're still a child, to be honest.
Yeah,
literally.
honestly.
Yeah, you're still figuring it out. They're figuring it out, and you'll come to find out it's like such an interesting time, where it's like, you're growing up, and your parents are like not just the people who tell you what to do, because now you have this liberty. Like you maintain that relationship. Like it's super important as well. And if anything else, watch In the Heights. I feel like that one storyline of like
the Nina.
Yeah, going off to college and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which listen to the musical soundtrack, not just the movie, because they cut out
like some good songs.
The two songs from the mom and the dad where they're like kind of talking about this, where we still care about you. Why didn't you let us know that you were struggling? Like you should see your father. He's trying his hardest to send you, and it might not seem like that in your shoes, but know that they care, and every sacrifice they made is to get you to this point. So,
woof.
Woo-wee.
Let's go read some books.
Let's go write an essay.
Let's go study.
Let's go study. Just kidding. Go out with your friends and have fun.
Yes.
If it's on the weekend night, you still gotta hit the books tomorrow morning.
Be smart. Get that 24 pack of Gatorades.
What?
For the hangovers?
Oh.
You can cut that
out.
Sam,
wasn't yours like Pedialyte? Didn't you always drink Pedialyte? Was that someone else? Maybe that's someone else.
Did Pedialyte even exist back then?
Yeah.
It did,
no, you know who that was? It was my friends at OU. They would always like every time I go to visit and we would go out, they'd buy Pedialyte the day before.
Them big old
night
ones,
before,
yeah. They make popsicles now. I thought about buying them, where they're just like electrolyte popsicles.
Oh my. Yeah, get Liquid IV and Pedialyte.
Dude, yeah,
for
the
those
science
hangovers.
of it is crazy.
Anyways, that's the end of this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this was interesting for you, even if you're not a college student. But if you are a college student, take some of these tips. They might help you have a better experience.
Or if you were already been to college, or you are in college right now, I'm sure you relate to a lot of these things.
Savor the moment. Reminisce on these beautiful memories. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they inspired some memories in you.
Yep.
And stay tuned. We'll have a dreams episode coming soon.
Sueños.
Spooky.
Yeah. What? That's not spooky, but it'll be. I just think discussing recurring dreams is really like interesting, and if there's any like meaning behind dreams. Anyways, we'll talk about that on a later episode. Thank you all for listening. Follow us on Instagram at Eating Good Pod, and we'll see y'all next week.
Adios.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Arrivederci. What if I just...
It has to be good on both. Look what you did. You're getting her all riled up.
Down.
That hurt my head.
Okay.
That was a good scream.
She said that hurt my head.
That was like a scary movie scream.